The tenure of Umukuka, when does it begin? You see, the NRA, when President Museveni captured power, or when he came to power, or when he began fighting for power in 1981, he fought for power for 5 years until 1986. So, you only count His Excellency the President as the President of Uganda from 86, not from 81 when he came to power. I mean, when he began fighting. Now, in 2020, I was among the prime fighters. I stayed on media. All of you media people used to give us a lot of mileage. We fought for about 3 years until we were gazetted by government. We fought from 220. There was no Mukuka. There was no official salary. There was no official military escorting anybody. No salary, no cars, no what. All those are just changed, so they were not official Bakuka until the Gazette of August 2, 23. That's why I'm using the scenario of the NRA. When we're in the bush, they cannot say they have ruled Uganda from 81, but they ruled Uganda after capturing power in 1986. So Mukuka was officially gazetted in 2/23 August, and that is where his reign begins from. That is change of name. Now, in changing the name, the whole argument is basically to realign the cultural institution to what the law says. Umukuka here is not structured to enforce any law. It's not a law enforcer. Umukuka is not a law implementer. The people who change and do Karagenda are people of government. For about the 12th or 13th century, a king of England sacked his chief justice. Because when the king asked the chief justice, him and the law who is higher, the chief justice told the king that, my lord, you are high, but the law is higher than what? Than you. So our Umukuka here is a subject of the law. Now if the minister decides to change the what from an association to what is captured in the law as within the provisions of Article 10 and Schedule 3, we have 65 tribes in this country. We have 65 communities, gazetted communities, and Bugisu is that gazetted what? Community. So the change was to realign the cultural institution to the laws of Uganda. Umukuka is a culturalist. He's not a lawyer. Now, the cultural leader must realign, or government must realign the cultural leader to the law. And when you read Article 246 of the Constitution, when you read the Article 10, Clause A, and when you read the third schedule of our Constitution, Bugisu is the tribe. When you read the national policy, the national cultural policy of Uganda, we have 65 indigenous groups or indigenous communities. Bugisu, Uganda, Were, Teso, those are the communities. So the change or the agenda was basically to realign the law, the cultural institution or the cultural leader to the law. We fit into the law, not the law fitting into what? Into us. Concerned by very many elders. They have raised constantly the issue of why, as a cultural institution, we do not have an assembly. This is not the thinking of the Umukuka. It's not the thinking of his ministers or the prime minister. It's not the thinking. But it's the thinking of the law. The law restrains cultural institutions. Actually, I'm told even the president complained that why do cultural institutions want to have assemblies? They want to make laws. We are not structured to make laws for this country. We are not lawmakers. We are not structured to make laws for the country. The Umukuka is restrained by Article 246, Clause 2D. It stops, it says the Umukuka will not exercise executive powers will not exercise legislative powers, will not exercise administrative powers. Because they make the argument and say administrative powers, executive powers, and legislative powers are powers of local governments and powers of government. So a cultural leader cannot have an assembly to make laws. We don't make laws. Cultural institutions don't make laws. These elders, when they meet here, they just say, let's now go and mobilize Masaba to do this, to consume government programs. That's our work. So that's why there's no assembly. But we have structures like the Grand Chamber. They are part of our structure. So we relate, we push information through them. So the law restraint would also actually wish to have a general assembly. But to do what? When you look at lawmaking in this country, the lawmaking in this country is a preserve of parliament under Article 79, Clause 1 and 2. The lawmaking is a preserve of local governments under Section 38 of the Local Government Act. Recently, this past week, when they invited me to some meeting here in Bali, I found a committee, an NGO was also making an ordinance on food. I said, which power? Power to make laws, you got to sit with the council, not you yourselves. Who is going to sign? You are going to take it to who? So let's not, in the situation of wanting to allocate ourselves a lot of authority, we don't make laws that may necessitate having an assembly around. So we call the media to give them these tips. It should have been a training, but let's do a briefing to ensure that people have the information. All these things we hear them, get the signals, get messages, given birth to all over Masaba. Masaba gave birth to Masaba. But now, we have what we call colloquial. I think that's the word. Mika knows a lot of English. Colloquially, we are known as Masaba. Isn't it? Informally, we are known as what? Masaba. But when now you go to the Constitution, it calls us Bugisu. Now, Bugisu, we are among the 65 indigenous groups in this country. The Bugisu. Yes, we have Soga, we have what? Our members of parliament, if they so chose to make us to become Masaba, it's an issue of security in the parliament. And we'll be calling ourselves as what? As Masaba without any harm. So it needs a parliamentary assembly to trigger an amendment to say, we have listened to our people, they prefer calling themselves as Masaba and not what? Bugisu. That is why we have this other thing called what? The Bugisu Parliamentary Caucus. Why is it not Masaba Parliamentary what? Caucus? We have BCU, Bugisu Cooperative Union. We used to hear on UBC, Masaba. I mean, Bugisu Balingo, there's a song every other morning. Bugisu Balingo, wow. It's there. So let's ensure that if there are issues of law, we should not use brutal force to resolve them. Legal issues, you need lawful means. Legal issues, you need lawful means. When the cultural leader of Bugisu goes to Kenya, is welcomed from Luakaka by a very serious interest, dispatched by the Speaker of Parliament of Kenya and the Governor of Bungoma, Mr. Rusaka. We salute them for that. The Governor of Bungoma and the Speaker of the National Parliament of Kenya, Mheshimiwa Moses Wetangula, whenever His Highness is visiting, all these soldiers you see here, when we go there, the guns are removed from them. Even the military uniform is not, they remove them. But they give us the Kenyan military what? Because the Masaba of Kenya are our own brothers. But we no longer now control the territory. The problem is the territory. If we say if Umubuka say the Bungoma is his, they will tell him the people are yours but not the territory. Because what brought the problems when Amin said he's going up to the Ivasha was not the people but the territory. That's Ugandan what land. So one is respect the boundaries, but we say a brother whether it's in the diaspora, is your brother, isn't it? We have Masaba in America, we have Masaba, but they have Masaba. So we have our other brothers who stay across River Rakaka. They are our own. Because when you go there, there's no need for Kiswahili, there's no need for English, just speak Masaba, no interpretation, they get the point straight. And we salute again, when we go to Kenya, Bungoma, Kitale, there's a lot of reception for the Umukuka here. Very serious reception. They have a very serious command over the Masaba anthem. So we are one community. So, cross. See what I am showing. Olira Kalukana. So, Fefe, Babuka, we demanded over responding. Information is in the Yosu Chiram. Wamundo, Achiro Mamuvi, Bachiro Manikurima, Fefe, Mulimakofe, Orabe, Uramona information. Tenga Uramo, Mukosi, now the Vanva can go to a very combative. I can home a I think the way we do not do Masaba. Assembly, General Assembly. Government, Yahoo Canis, Yakansa, Mukawe Masaba, Mukawe, Wera, Irome, Mukuka, Aholaka Magana, Mukuka, exercising executive power. Mukuka, Yaro, the RDC, Yaro, the cow, I don't know powers. Mukuka, exercising administrative powers. So, you have administrative powers, it's a local government. Administrative powers, it's a government. Legislative powers, it's a local government. Legislative powers, it's a government. Executive powers, local government. It is under government like that. So, Mukukaba have certain basic roles. Hakana Olaka Mateka, who mobilizing about Masaba, Babe Mu, Batia for NADS, PDM, Baba never saw me, Baba Madwalino, Nibinu, the government in the Usa Tim Soro, who got about Masaba, Westana, whom we will go Kachiro, one at Sirena, yesterday, who got about Maramena, Italy. Taker, we are use of constitution or many what is fortunate, what is very good, says in Garden Will. It's about Masaba, Muiri and Yene, yes, Badi. So, why the minimum conflict? No one go out see the Iran or from Uganda, which area? Or let me check in the constitution. Or the Bugisu Yakame, the Bugisu Tadi, Jirita, yet. Wahurapake. Even go meta, you Kabake, you boss, Bakan Haruli, Milofe, Befe. Till the other time we get Kenyan Arab and speak of Parliament, right order in the spokesperson. Nanyaka Mura made the most in the spokesperson, because you got a Bukuka, and you are part of what? Buku. A show, Okanakuru, Marius Bahaka, we wow, Magamero Magariba, the majority of the people back. Bakana Beirang, very banner. Lamasa, the whites who are with this level of year. That's not a problem. A shop in your one on the moon, pass up a government would favor and be fake. Baba, be fake. Babona, very comfortable, who Babana, who rang a banner. Lamasa, the show, Banyabashi, Gamu, Nerome, the minister, and I mean, the minister, Bari Basi, delegates, Baba Musi, the Bokali of Baba Bamasa. China, Roman, Moba Musi, Menate for Honey Yamushu, somebody Bamasa, then you mark Mumurana, Righteous. When I say two constitution, Baramova and Righteous. Now, Halimushu said there will be no problem. Because some of us were not born. Would not even have known that there was a Bugisu, isn't it? So Baba and Baba Kali, whatever the authority to make laws for Uganda, sometimes you know about Bush. So our Kali or tell a break. The Parliament by not triggering a constitutional change. Can you be a Korea? Go out to the Jamuemba several which try to room Masaba, we were not visit, we were not water. Banga Baraba, let's check in the system by Masaba. We are not there. We have a Bugisu. Whichever I may or Zena, Acha Astonia, Bamreva, Hoja, Country, Shenara, Astonia, wafire nga nembole ba Masaba ne baona ba which tribe are you or amu Masaba asibara you we don't speak Masaba wao kuranga kwa Masaba kuli banga kwa ba Masaba atese okurisendi opile ba members of parliament kumulanga bakola bari bashus bari bari fokuli ba Masaba se parliament bashus and there's no problem, there will be no harm awo nabanga kana itami yoshimwe tandi kabusi kana timali aribukuka baliyo baroma bari umukuka akana akuke for life etsotiro metso sese no mendinga natsi bulire tsosi kumuli mufefe koram umukuka welenge the cultural leaders act in the constitution of elomero umukuka elomero hode bindu bibili bashaho mukuliza kulini bukuka kulini umukuka bukuka baroma mumateka bari bukuka endures forever mwafunile ngariva Mississippi ngariva Nile it will flow and flow and flow and flow baroma bari mumateka no mukuka anyala waba with limited by our aspirations ba Masaba baroma bashi isn't it ba Masaba ba haleo baroma bari umukuka avuga for this period kale bakamubona bukana bamubona ahara mbalo marifana na president amini alomara undolelelori ibe Museveni arari urumundole amuri mwalo za president kushusha constitution within the norms, within the aspirations of what Masaba the mundu ko mari is here to rule forever. That's a claim yone kisadina mundu akana mumateko akana mumateko Alexa this. So the book will endure forever. So we need to separate a show ni muku. If you are going to will live forever, that's the message. So muku can have within the aspiration.